Another month filled with 6 limited time units. Not exactly enough gems to get them all. But maybe, just maybe, you want 1, 2, or 3 of these and are wondering if just getting 1 copy will make a difference or not. This video should help you with that. So with that said, strap on your seatbelts, sit tight, let's begin this scouting guide video. Here we go! Yo, 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 this is Sol, also known as SPL Gum, also known as Spatial Gum, also known as Grunt, the artist Team Skull Grunt. This is Pokemon Masters EX, guys. Welcome to my 1 out of 5 or none out of 5 video where I discuss getting 1 copy of these sync pairs, you know, what their capabilities are with just 1 copy. Maybe next time for 2 or 3. In fact, if you want to know more about 2 copies, 3 copies, and for 4 of them, 4 copies and 5 copies, you can check out my May 2023 pairs who to scout for video coming. Well, I'm not sure how or when I'll be able to finish this, but I'll be making this video eventually and you can see their full in-depth kit. But for now, guys, it's only just getting 1 copy, what their base kit potential is. So with that said, before we begin, don't forget to hit the thumbs up right now and subscribe if you haven't. Comment down your thoughts and tell me which one of these sync pairs appeals to you the most, or are you just skipping each one? Nothing interests you in particular. Or maybe you're scouting for everyone. Or maybe you're scouting for 1 sync pair getting 5 copies, or getting just 1 copy of these sync pairs. Let me know in the comment section. But with that said, guys, a huge shout out first to my awesome members who have been supporting me throughout all this time. Thank you to Shadow, Phil, Alstin, Roy, Luca for 2 years, Jeremy and Sasri for more than 1 year, and to all the others, you'll get your shout out soon enough. Thank you also to my gifters and all the gifted memberships, or the active people who have been active, you know, chatting, being just very active in the channel. And you guys receive the gift memberships from these awesome, generous people. Thank you guys also. If you want to receive a gift membership, don't forget to be active. Always hit the thumbs up. Always chat with us in the live chat. And you know the drill. I don't need to tell you guys anymore. Anyway, guys, let us begin with the timeline of events, or timeline of sync pair scouts, starting with How, or Signesuit How. April 28, 2 days after him is Mina, April 30. And interestingly, How is on a Friday, Mina is on a Sunday, at least for those in Asia. And then Agatha comes in like 1 week after on a Sunday, at least in Asia. 2 days after Agatha, we got Lance on a Tuesday, at least for May 9. And then 1 week, less than 1 week actually, the same week as Lance, we have Azarola. And then Lana comes in 2 days after. And this worries me right now because all of these sync pairs come in first half of the month. May 14. Haven't we seen the second half? We haven't seen anything about the second half of the month. I worry that they might include a surprise sync pair, but maybe not. Maybe not. They might throw in a surprise sync pair or release the next set, the next update a little bit earlier than usual. Again, we know that May 25 we will have the rerun of Renegade Cynthia. We also know that Lear, Signesuit Cyrus, Signesuit May, and others are gonna rerun somewhere in between. And more sync pairs, more banners are gonna rerun somewhere in between there. But for now, those are the timelines. Pokefair units for How, Mina, Acerola, and Lana. That means every single one of them have a maximum of 5 copies to unlock their entire grid, guys. But we're not talking about 5 copies again, we're just talking about 1 copy. Take note that Pokefairs will give you a 10% chance of getting a random 5-star. So if you want 5 stars, if you don't have your Spotlight Scouts completed yet, even though DNA has not released a new Spotlight unit for the longest time, there's always a bigger chance to get the remaining, your missing Spotlight Scout on these Pokefair Scouts. 2% chance of getting each one. There are no benefits to scouting for them. There are no presents, there are no power-ups, there are no nothing free for the 4 of them. The 4 of them, just a 2% chance of scouting for them. There's no paid route except for the daily discount. If you get shafted, that's 36,600 gems down the drain. But for Agatha and for Lance, you have a little incentive, and that is if you have 7,500 paid gems, you can guarantee yourself 1 copy at least of either Agatha or Lance together with their custom power-ups to make them 20 out of 20, and you just throw in some champion spirits to make them 6-star EX. But then Agatha and Lance do not have 6-star EX style or EX styles or EX colors, but they have their EX poses. Meanwhile, the others all have their 6-star EX forms. And if I'm not mistaken, Hao is a tech, Mina is a support, Azarola is a support, and Lana is a striker. I'll confirm that later. But those are the things that you have to think of. Alright, let's now discuss each one in depth. Starting with Cygnus Shoutouts and Tapu Coco. If you see this background image, congratulations. You have successfully scouted for 1 copy. And what does 1 copy do? Well, Tapu Coco is an electric type tech sync pair with Dazzling Gleam as its attacking move. So Dazzling Gleam is a fairy type attack. It hits everyone. 2 move gauge attack, does not do anything else. B Electro Web is his buddy move. And this buddy move is only deactivated when there is no terrain, weather, or zone effects. So the moment you enter the battle, actually, you will debut, you will set up Electric Terrain because of his first passive skill, Electric Terrain Debut and Extension 5. I like this because it extends the duration of Electric Terrain. In fact, I'm not sure if you pair him up with Thunderbolt Red, will Electric Terrain extend infinitely? Because, you know, Thunderbolt Red can also extend the duration of Electric Terrain. And if you have paired up Thunderbolt Red with Cygnus Shoutouts, you don't even need to set up Electric Terrain anymore because Cygnus Shoutouts will set Electric Terrain for you. And then you have Team Power Induction. When the field is Electric Terrain, every single sync pair in your team will have their attacks powered up. This only applies to attacks if I'm correct, and not the sync moves, buddy moves, and normal moves only. Melee Ocean Breeze, at the start of the battle, because you have set up Electric Terrain, you will give everyone special moves up next effect. And every single time an ally, your allies whatsoever, activates weather, terrains, or zones, you will give everyone a special moves up next effect again. So this guy also has Fairy Wish. You can use Fairy Wish to give you another special moves up next effect for everyone. And Fairy Wish just sets up a Fairy Zone, but then there's no Fairy Zone extension here. If you want the Fairy Zone extension, you have to have another sync pair. If I'm not mistaken, that sync pair you're looking for is Wally. Cygnus Suit Wally sets up the Fairy Zone extension. But at least, you can set up Electric Terrain plus Fairy Zone. And they stack on top of each other because terrains and zones are completely different. B Electro Web, again, is immediately unlocked at the start of the battle because you immediately set up Electric Terrain. And until Electric Terrain goes away, or your zones go away, or weather goes away, B Electro Web will be unlocked, you know, infinitely, perpetually. And you use B Electro Web And if there is a Fairy Zone, this is interesting. If there is a Fairy Zone, the attack power of B Electro Web is doubled. This is only one move gauge. It hits everyone, and you can use B Electro Web infinite number of times. This lowers the opponent's speed by 2 and raises everyone in your team's speed stat plus 2. So, weird that B Electro Web gets powered up by Fairy Wish or Fairy Zone. But also remember that B Electro Web will be powered up by your Electric Terrain and your Team Power Induction, guys. So, Signature Tao, probably a strong sync pair if you want to use B Electro Web or even Dazzling Gleam. You know, if for Fairy type weak opponents, you might want to use those two. You might want to interchange those two. You lower the opponent's speed stat first, you raise everyone's speed stat, and yeah, that's basically it for him. And then his sync move is Thundering Deity Gigavolt Havoc. I think these are the Z moves, and I like that the Z moves are being incorporated to their sync moves. And this basically is increased, the damage is increased when there's an electric terrain on the field, which you set up once, and you cannot set it up again, at least for Signature Tao. So, once electric terrain goes away, if you only have a Signature Tao for electric terrain, it will not come back anymore. And with that said, this is his Sync Grid, guys. Sync Grid, one copy gives you a Dazzling Gleam move gauge refresh. A 40% chance of bringing back one move gauge after you use Dazzling Gleam. Light, you cannot be paralyzed. Turbocharge 2 speeds up the move gauge when there's an electric terrain. I'm glad that this is at 1 out of 5. I guess that is good. So, again, Signature Tao. Very powerful electric type. You want to, if you want to maximize the damage to your opponents, you have to set up Fairy Zone. So at the start of the battle, electric terrain will be set up because of Mele Ocean Breeze. Signature Tao will immediately get a special moves up next effect. All the sync pairs in your team will get a special moves up next effect. Then you probably want to set up electric, or rather Fairy Zone or Fairy Wish. And Mele Ocean Breeze will give you another special moves up next effect. By having Fairy Wish active or Fairy Zone active, if you use B Electro Web, the damage will be increased. And that, you raise everyone's speed stat, you lower the opponent's speed stat, and that's that. That is how you use Signature Tao, or you can just interchange, you can just use Dazzling Gleam. But Team Power Induction will power up your Dazzling Gleam. Fairy Wish will power up your Dazzling Gleam. If you use B Electro Web, Team Power Induction will power up your B Electro Web. Electric Terrain will power up your Electro Web. And having Fairy Zone will activate or will power up your B Electro Web. And that is just weird but strong at the same time. That's just for one copy of Signature Tao. And again, he's a tech sync pair. That means if you 6-star EX him, if you attack an opponent with a sync move, you will only hit one single opponent with 1.5 times damage. Alright, let's move on. Signature Mina and Tapu Fini. If you see this background image, yes, they look pretty much alike, but the colors of the altars or shrines are slightly different. Alright, this is a support sync pair. This one has two Pokemon moves. One is Draining Kiss. Basically, you hit one opponent, you recover some HP, Rain Dance to bring in rain. And then you have a buddy move, Be Protect. What this does is same. It only activates when you have a weather, field, terrain, or you have a zone. And this restores everyone's HP. Interestingly, by 20%, but if there is a fairy zone, you get to recover everyone's HP by 30% instead of just 20%. Now, this is the fairy type of the out of the bunch. And again, earlier I said Signusuit Wally brings in the fairy zone extension. In fact, this sync pair, Mina, Signusuit Mina, also brings in fairy zone extension. If I'm not mistaken, Signusuit Wally only has like fairy zone extension 3. This one has Fairy Zone Extension 5. So at the start of the battle, you set up Fairy Zone and then you extend the Fairy Zone by around 50% longer if that's how it's counted. Pony Ocean Breeze, when you set up a terrain, a weather condition, or something, you get to raise everyone's defense and special defense by 1. Now, I think if you pair How with Signusuit Mina, or Signusuit How and Signusuit Mina, you know, one sets up terrain, one sets up zone. I think those passive skills pile up. I think, you know, we have to see that in action first. So I think by pairing those two up, you get to give everyone special moves up next +2 instead of +1 for How. And this one raises everyone's defense and special defense +2 because zone and terrain is completely different. From what I know, that's how this works. Team Whimsical special damage reduction 3. When the field is damaged or when the field is fairy zone, you receive less special attack damage from the opponents. And then what else? Rain Dance brings in rain, yes. Be Protect. Again, forgot to mention this, but you also protect yourself. You apply the damage guard next effect to all allied sync pairs. What this does is, if the opponent attacks you with a normal attack, 0 damage. If the opponent attacks you with a sync move, 50% damage only for all allies. And then, last but not the least, you have Pretty as a Painting, her trainer move. Gives everyone critical hit defense. So you will not be hit by critical moves while this is active. Raises everyone's special attack +4 and gives everyone gradual healing. Regen, nice. In addition, if it is raining, raises everyone's special attack stat +2. So you use Rain Dance, then you use Pretty as a Painting. It only is 1 MP. You can only use this once. So that by using Pretty as a Painting, you will have everyone's special attack stat +6 instead of +4 only. And that's how you use her. Let's check out her sync grid right now. You 1 out of 5, you have... Oh, I don't think Turbocharge 2 is supposed to be there. Let me just quickly remove that. Because I think this belongs to How. But I might be wrong. But let's check. Anyway, you have Flameproof and Stalwart. So, prevents you from getting burned. Special defense cannot be lowered. I have to check electric terrain. The thing there belongs to her or not. But you know what she does is that she recovers everyone with her Be Protect, which you can only use once, sadly. And then extending the Fairy Zone. So this sets up a Fairy Zone. If you have him paired up, if you have her paired up with Hop, remember Hop has Fairy Wish. So if the Fairy Zone ends, use Fairy Wish. Fairy Wish will be affected by the extension as well. So I like that. And they make a nice pair together, I guess. But Rain Dance is a very weird one for her because, you know, she does not have any move that is powered up by rain. Except if you want to extend or if you want to raise everyone's... The only benefit of using Rain Dance is to raise everyone's special attack +6 instead of +4. The remaining things are, well, are in her 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5 grids. So sad, but that's only what she gets with 1 copy. Alright, let's move on. Let's jump to Agatha and Arbok first because they come first before the others. So if you see this background image, congratulations, you have successfully scouted for the Agatha that does not have a ghost type Pokemon. Sus! Very typical. She has Poison Sting, just leaves the target poison, 30% chance. Wrap, leaves the target trapped. Leer, hits everyone, lowers the opponent's defense stat -1. Don't hold back, raises everyone's attack, special attack, critical hit rate +2. And you can only use this once. Weird. Because I would expect this to have at least 2 MP. But attack, special attack, and critical hit rate +2. So you cannot max out your attack, special attack, and critical hit for her. Passive skills, you have Team Underhanded Heal. If the opponent is poisoned, paralyzed, frozen, burned, asleep, and you use an attack against an opponent, Poison Sting, Wrap, I'm not sure if Leer is, I don't think Leer is affected by this one, but you have a 50% chance of recovering everyone's HP by a little bit, which is nice. So first, if you want to use her, just poison the opponent. You have to use Poison Sting. Hostile environment will double the chances of you poisoning the opponent. So instead of 30%, you'll have 60% chance of poisoning the opponent using Poison Sting. And then full bracing, P move 9. P move. Pokemon move, I think. Pokemon move 9. Full bracing, Pokemon move 9. Every single time you use Poison Sting, Wrap, or Leer, you get to raise your own defense and special defense stat +1. In terms of the sync grid, you have Antitoxin, you have Escape Artist, and you have Leer, Move Gauge Refresh 3, and that's about it. So, what she does is basically the only special thing about her with 1 copy is that you have a 50% chance of recovering everyone's HP by a little bit. This is a tech support just like the others. You have a support that lowers the opponent's defenses, a support sync pair that traps the opponent, so a little tech support over there. And you can poison the opponent, and again, if the opponent is poisoned, you can have a 50% chance of recovering everyone's HP by using Poison Sting or Wrap against an opponent. That's all. That's all there is to Agatha and Arbok. Nothing really much to say about this. Probably if she has a Haunter or Gengar or Shiny Gengar or something else, she might run along better, but that's about it for Variety Agatha. Lance and Dragonair is the second Variety Scout in this, and I hope that we do not get Variety Scouts for a very, very, very long time. We just got 8 Variety Scouts. I think this is the 8th Variety Scout. Anyway, Lance has Thunder Wave and Hyper Beam. Thunder Wave leaves the target paralyzed. Hyper Beam, you know what Hyper Beam does. This is a Dragon type Hyper Beam because of his Dragon Shift passive skill, which changes normal type attacks into Dragon type attacks. You have Dire Hit All Plus, a tech that can give everyone critical hit rate up. We have had this quite often now. Before it was a rarity. Before it was a miracle for texting pairs to have Dire Hit All Plus, but now I've seen so many different texting pairs get Dire Hit All Plus. This is getting boring now. Heart of Justice, 1 MP. You can use this to lower your sync move countdown -1, raise your special attack +4, raise everyone's speed stat +2, raise everyone's accuracy stat +1. This is important accuracy because Hyper Beam only is 90% accuracy if I'm not mistaken. And then you receive 20% damage for recoil, just like all the other lances I know, which give themselves recoil damage. Hiya. And then you have a boring sync move name, Virtually Unstoppable Dragon Beam rather, which powers up when the opponent is paralyzed. And then for the passive skills, the other ones, Shock Hit Freebie 4 if you attack a paralyzed opponent, you have a 50% chance of giving yourself a free move next, so that your Hyper Beam, which is expensive with a move gauge 50 or 4 move gauge, 50% chance of using the next Hyper Beam for free. And I guess the most important or the most interesting thing about him is Afflict Dragon TR Trainer Rebuff. I have no idea what TR means. Type rebuff. Type rebuff? Dragon type rebuff. Maybe. Afflict Dragon type rebuff down. Lowers the opponent's Dragon type rebuff -1 the first time the opponent or the user's Pokemon uses a status move. So that means the moment you use Thunder Wave on opponent, you will have Dragon type rebuff on that opponent. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he has 2 or 3 copies. I forgot if it's 3 copies. Go Viral 4, which hits everyone. Anyway, I'm not sure. When the status move is inflicted on has a chance of applying to all opposing sync pairs. So I'm not sure if the Dragon type rebuff will spread out, will go viral to the other sync pairs with the Thunder Wave Go Viral 4 over here. You can see it's grayed out because it's at 3 copies. But for now, let's just assume that it only hits 1 opponent. So you have Lithe, prevents you from getting paralyzed, and Quick Cure to remove the confused flinching and trap condition. So this sync pair, the most interesting thing about him is that you get the Dragon type rebuff. Give the opponent a Dragon type rebuff. Make your Dragon moves for everyone stronger, and that's about it. That is Lance and Dragonair. And interestingly, this is the one and only tech variety scout that we have gotten in the 4 Kanto Elite Four members. All the others are supports, and that's about it. Next, let's move on. Signisut Acerola and Tapu Bulu. You see this image? Congratulations, you have successfully scouted for another support sync pair, which again, this has 5 out of 5, but we're just talking about 1 copy. You have Bullet Seed, you have Sunny Day. Now, passive skill, you have Grassy Terrain, Debut, and Extension 5. This is their gimmick for now. Sets up Grassy Terrain and extends the Grassy Terrain. And the moment you activate a weather field condition or something, this is the weather condition, by the way. So earlier, electric terrain is a terrain. Fairy zone is a zone. Sunny day is a weather condition. Grassy terrain is a terrain. It will overwrite electric terrain. I'm not sure how you should pair your sync pairs up. If I'm not mistaken, it follows the last sync pair you have. The last of the tactics. So whichever goes last in the tactics, I think that is the terrain that's gonna stand. So if you have How at number 3 or 2 and Acerola at number 1, I think it follows the 2 or 3 rather than Acerola's thing. So that's about it. But I think the passive skills just stack up. Ula Ula Ocean Breeze gives everyone physical moves up next effect when an ally activates a weather, field, blah 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 condition. Anyway, Bullet Seed hits an opponent 2 to 5 times in a row. Grass type attack, which is gonna be powered up by Grassy Terrain. Sunny Day just makes the weather sunny. B, Swords Dance. You can use this 3 times. And what this does is that it raises everyone's attack stat +2. And it gives everyone a physical moves up next effect. So, you can use this 3 times to give everyone a physical moves up next effect +3. Which again, moves up next effect powers up either your physical moves or your special moves by 40% stronger every single stack. and you can have a maximum of 10 stacks of physical moves up next effect or special moves up next effect. Now I'm Angry is her trainer move, and it raises everyone's defense +2, raises everyone's critical hit rate +3, raises everyone's speed stat +2 when the weather is sunny. So if you want to give everyone a speed boost, you will have to use Sunny Day first, which is very unnecessary in my opinion. Hiya, why do they have to do this? But again, you have to just use Sunny Day if you want the speed buff for everyone. No multipliers for the trainer move. And then her other passive skill is Team Verdant Physical Damage Reduction 3. If the field is grassy terrain, everyone will receive less physical attack damage. It's interesting because these are basically imitating Master Fair's Master passive skills. These are imitating them. Hiya. Anyway. 1 out of 5, you get Antitoxin, prevents you from getting poisoned, and your defense cannot be lowered with Unbending. So what this does at 1 copy is that it extends your grassy terrain, it can set up Sun, and it can maximize everyone's attack, it can give everyone physical moves up next effect, it can raise everyone's defense stats, it can raise everyone's speed stat, it can maximize everyone's critical hit stat. And that's about it. That's about it. Give everyone physical moves up next effect. That's about it for her for 1 copy. This is a support sync pair. If you 6-star EX her and use her sync move, you will get a double sync buff the first time you use her sync move. And she has a 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, which we will discuss in another video. Let's move on to the last one. Signasuit Lana and Tapu Lele. This is finally we get a striker. And this is interesting because this is a physical psychic striker. We do not have a lot of physical psychic strikers out there. So if you check her stats are actually low. Attack stat 278, special attack stat 278. She has Moonblast, which is a fairy type special attack. Psycho Cut, which is a psychic type physical attack. And then her passive skill, basically Psychic Terrain Debut. This one sets up Psychic Terrain. Again, this will overwrite the grassy terrain. This will overwrite electric terrain because this is a terrain, but it extends Psychic Terrain. It also sets up Psychic Terrain at the same time. And if the field is Psychic Terrain, Team Weird Vibes 2 will power up the moves of all allied sync pairs. This is every single move, not just the special attack, not just physical attack, but all types of moves will be powered up if the field is Psychic Terrain for all allies. Nice. Akala Ocean Breeze gives everyone a physical moves up next effect and a special moves up next effect when you set up a terrain, or a zone or a weather condition. So this is better in terms that you can raise both physical moves up next and special moves up next effect. In terms of the attacks, Moonblast, 30% chance of lowering the opponent's special attack stat. You can set up Psychic Terrain using her, and remember, Psychic Terrain, she sets it up herself. So this one, if you want to extend Psychic Terrain even more, you just use Psychic Terrain. This makes the most sense out of every single Tapu we have. Hiya. Psycho Cut. This does is every single time it attacks, it hits everyone 4 move gauge expensive. And every single time you attack, it is a critical hit. But if you have Psychic Terrain active, the move gauge requirement is only 2 instead of 4. Plus, this get powered up by Psychic Terrain. So I see no problem setting up Psychic Terrain before using Psycho Cut, because this is a very powerful Psychic type attack. But then with the attack stat she has, it's not exactly that high. But if you're looking for a physical type Psychic Striker instead of a special type Psychic Striker, It's pretty good. Guileless Just Shattered Psyche is her passive, or her sync move. It features a pretty interesting sync move animation that we have not yet seen ever. But poor Lucario is just getting bullied if you see the image, if they see the video for her sync move. But pretty cool sync move over there. Cast the Line is 1 MP. And it gives you attack and special attack plus 6. If I'm not mistaken, you do not need to use move gauge for this one, but I might be wrong. I have to check. Because we have a similar sync pair that requires 2 move gauges to use her trainer move that maximizes attack and special attack, and that is Signasuit Serena. Requires 2 move gauges. I haven't seen the move gauge requirement for this one, honestly. But I'll have to recheck that. And it also applies the super effective up next to the user if the field is psychic terrain. Nice. Maximum attack and special attack immediately, plus super effective up next because you set up psychic terrain immediately unless you overwrite it with another sync pair. And that, we talk about her sync grid. You got Dauntless, you got Headstrong, you got Psychic Terrain, Move Gauge, Refresh 3, and that's about it. Pretty strong sync pair, and I'm not sure if that outfit actually fits Lana's hair, but fine. I know Wizard Soon likes Lana a lot, but we're scouting for her anyway. Anyway, guys, that is for the 1 copy out of 5 copies. And if you want 2, 3, 4, 5 copies, you will have to watch another video. But that is basically it. Those are 1 copies. Let me try and recall what I remember. How? Sets up electric terrain, extends electric terrain, can set up Fairy Zone. Meanwhile, Mina sets up electric zone, can set up rain. Agatha can recover everyone, 50% chance of recovering everyone if she attacks an opponent with a status condition. Lance can give an opponent dragon type rebuff. Azarola sets up grassy terrain, can set up sun. And Lana can sets up psychic terrain and can extend her psychic terrain and can set up another psychic terrain. Tech, support, tech, support, strike. Which one are you aiming for? Again, 10% chance random 5-star, 10% chance, 7, 7, 10, 10. 2% chance, 2% chance, 2% chance, 2% chance, 2% chance, 2% chance of scouting for the featured unit. 36,600 page gems, 36,600 gems. Everyone, 36,000 gems, 36,600 gems. If you get shafted, no gifts, no gifts. 3 support move candy coins, 3 tech move candy coins. No gifts, no gifts. If you scout for them, if you do multiples. No paid route, no paid route. 7,500 paid gems, 7,500 paid gems. No paid route, no paid route. If you are sure, if you want 1 sure copy, only Agatha and Lance have their paid routes. And again, if you spend 7,500 paid gems on Agatha and Lance, you can get enough custom power-ups for them to make them 20 out of 20 and just give them 50 champion spirits in order to make them 6-star EX. But DNA, no more variety scouts. Everyone say this with me. No more variety scouts. We're allowing this because it's Agatha. Agatha, we love Agatha so much. We love seeing her run along now. Agatha is forgiven. All the others, no more variety scouts. Okay, Ball Guy is an exception. But even the evolutions, no more. No more. But if Best Boy Nolan gets a variety scout, I will accept that. No more variety scouts. No more 6 limited sync pairs in 1 month. Come give us permanent sync pairs next update, DNA. Next update. And better make your next update next month instead of this month. Late this month. Last week of this month. I want to see May 30 instead of May 28th. Update. The next sync pair or something like that. Anyway, guys, that's it. Tell me who you are scouting for one copy of these sync pairs. But who am I to stop you? Just scout for your faves instead of the meta. But again, be cautious because the game is getting less and less and less and less free-to-play friendly since many months ago. It's going down this route, and it's sad to see this game go that route because only paying players now can get all sync pairs unless you are super lucky, which I believe that not exactly a lot of people are super lucky trying to get these sync pairs. A lot of people get shafted. So be careful spending your gems. But with that said, that is the end of this video. You can check out how many gems you can get this month. It's a pretty okay number, but not enough for 6 limited units in 1 month. Again, check out my May 2023 pair suit to scout for video coming probably. I don't know. I don't exactly have a lot of time these days, but I'll try my best to get this out as quickly as possible. But that is the end. My 1 out of 5 or none out of 5 video. Please hit the thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm and for my health, because I want to go to bed, but I'm recording this video for you guys so that one thing off my to-do list, because it's haunting me non-stop if I don't finish this for you guys. And with that said, thank you to all the gifters of my channel once again. Thank you for your generosity, everyone over here. And thank you also to all the members of my channel. Oh, sorry Jeremy, you're supposed to be at red. But anyway, thank you everyone. Thank you Shadow, Phil, Alcin, Roy, Luca, and Jeremy for 2 years. Thank you 1 year, Sasri Umbreon, and Ewiz. Hiya, I failed to update this. Anyway, and thank you Ultra Bowl tier Marokmans. Thank you Great Bowl tier members Aurora, SV, and Yuki. Thank you Premier Bowl tier member Shido. And thank you to all my other Pokeball tier members Tatsuya Gold, Kundan, Pokefriendo, and Edward. Thank you so much for your support. With that said, I'm signing off. This is Sol, also known as Spielgum, also known as Spatial Gum, also known as Grunt, Yardist Team Skull Grunt, and I will see you in the next video. Rah!